you just joined us on the System After Dark, this is a homegrown number courtesy of E3 and Cracker.
Bulla, how's it going? I'm D, your host on the System After Dark, right here on Today FM. Today's hit music. You can catch me weeknights at 7 p.m. That's from Monday to Friday, only on the home of Today's hit music. And don't forget, that's D with you every weeknight on the System After Dark. Even got that homebrew flowing.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spate. In this bulletin, Fiji and the European Union hold their first political dialogue today. Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama calls for global support on climate change. And ACP EU meeting delegates experience traditional Fijian welcome ceremony. Fiji held its first political dialogue with the European Union today. Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama says the closed talks went extremely well. Maggie Boyle reports.
In the lead-up to the ACP Joint Parliamentary Assembly, Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama led a political dialogue with the European Union.
Can I just get that? Extremely well, thank you.
Bainimarama met with the current chair of the EU, Latvia, who's represented by their Foreign Affairs Minister, Edgar Zrinkovic.
And when it comes to the climate change, development assistance, also we discussed developments here in Fiji. I congratulated the Fijian government and Fijian people on a very good transition to parliamentary elections, and also to have a very good discussion with the Prime Minister, his members of his cabinet on the intended developments and reform processes, starting from political and then into economic issues.
Discussions also included Fiji's initiatives such as the Pacific Islands Development Forum and its green growth policy. Fiji's delegation included the Attorney General Aya Said Kiyum, Foreign Affairs Minister Ratunoke Kumbombola, Minister for Immigration and Defence Timothy Natuva, as well as Fiji's representatives to the EU, Ambassador Deo Sharan and Councillor Nihendra Singh. EU's head of delegation Pacific, Ambassador Andrew Jacobs, also attended the early morning meeting, which was held at Parliament. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
More than 300 delegates attending the Africa, Caribbean, Pacific and European Union Joint Parliamentary Assembly were accorded a traditional Fijian welcome ceremony in Suva today. EU co-president Louis Michel thanked Fiji for agreeing to host the assembly, which was initially scheduled to be held in Vanuatu. Vanuatu could not host the event because of the trail of destruction left behind by Cyclone Pam in April. The meeting will discuss climate change, biodiversity, deep-sea mining, fisheries and piracy, as well as some policies and funding required to alleviate problems faced by ACP countries.
This is an area where best practice and experiences from EU states can serve as examples for our CP colleagues, and I hope that the Commission will continue to focus on this area when development assistance is provided to SCP states in the context of programs to support governance.
The Assembly will call on ACP EU members to ratify and implement international and regional human rights conventions. Prime Minister Vurenge Bainimarama has used the opening of the ACP EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly to call for developed economies to be shamed for not agreeing to cut carbon gas emissions. Bainimarama has also called for support from ACP states and EU members to rally behind Fiji and the Pacific when the issue will be addressed at the World Climate Summit in Paris in December. Eleanor Turangaivu has more.
Fiji and the Pacific now have less than 6 months to collectively get the world to realize that the time for talking is over and concrete action must be taken against climate change.
I have firmly committed Fiji to waging a concerted campaign in the remaining months leading up to the Paris Summit, and at the gathering itself to get the world to finally face up to this crisis.
Without mincing his words, Bainimarama called countries who are refusing to sign the necessary cuts in carbon gas emission as a coalition of the selfish.
Because there is no other way to describe their behavior. They must be shamed. They must be shamed into action. The sheer immorality of their position must be exposed.
Bainimarama has requested the support of the ACP and EU countries in Fiji's campaign as time is running out for the Pacific, and the threat of climate change is now at a more serious scale, with villages being relocated and islands at the threat of extinction.
This is the time for concrete action, and if the global community again balks at the decisive action, history and the generations to come will judge those developed nations which didn't act extremely harshly for their selfishness and stupidity.
We hope that all of us will speak up for all the Pacific Islands and the threats that they face from the effects of climate change, such as rising sea levels and coastal erosion.
The objective of the Climate Change Conference in Paris is to achieve a legally binding and universal agreement on climate from all the nations of the world. Eleanor Turangaibiu, FBC News.
The co-president of the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group, European Union, Louis Michel, has responded to Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama's call on the EU to be more flexible when negotiating economic partnership agreements. Bainimarama said the harsh realities of the global marketplace are always harder for those men and women who struggle to produce goods for a market that are not readily available for them. Ellen Stolz has more.
The co-president of the ACP-EU, Louis Michel, says they have every intention of relaying the Prime Minister's message to the EU.
Will try to push the European Union to be as flexible as possible, but in the same time, the countries, the partners, has also to understand that, and this is my personal opinion and my personal belief, if they want benefit from, let us say, the fruits of globalization, and globalization has fruits to deliver, then they have also to make efforts.
Another co-chair, Fitz Jackson of Jamaica, says the meeting will also focus on the issues that affect the Pacific Islands more than any country within the ACP group.
Those have to deal with minerals, marine life, vulnerability of small states, in terms of natural disaster, climate change, and other such vulnerabilities. It's a challenging task, but it's one that, as we said, working collectively, we can overcome that.
The Joint Parliamentary Assembly is being held in Suva and will end on Wednesday. Ellen Stolz, FBC News.
Coming up, regional eye care conference to look at quality of eye service delivery.
Wala wala sa matumay hana gana paro taki na yan robongi kevika na matumay buga tali tigun na bisere wara kemuni na gana paro taki ngo na yan robongi enambula FM nimbola benaka oya wubika na isoro ranyo na tumani mai na vito na kabe kina tini karuwa nong bongi lebu ena gana paro taki sekoya na yan robongi enambula FM enambandua enasere.
Eye care officers from the region and Fiji have been urged to work together to deliver adequate and quality eye care. Minister for Health Johnny Usumate made the request at the opening of the Pacific Eye Health Conference in Suva today. Ali Kimbia has the details.
The challenge of eliminating avoidable blindness in the Pacific will be the theme participants will be discussing during the 3-day workshop, which starts in Suva today. Discussions will also involve health issues concerning the Pacific region.
Major eye health conditions and diseases in our region include cataract, uncorrected refracted error, vitamin A deficiency, glaucoma, trachoma. Non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and related eye diseases constitute a fast-growing problem for the region.
The delegates have been urged to work together and deliver the best service to the people.
And so my appeal to you this year is to work hard when you have your AGM today, to work hard at developing yourselves into a membership society that can stand in the Pacific and stand strong.
Participants have also been reminded to take interest in the work they do.
Building local ecosystems, we don't want to work in isolation. We work in partnership with the ministries of health in those countries, and we work on to continue and building local ecosystems that are well set up in their own countries.
While working towards the elimination of avoidable blindness, participants will also address issues in poverty, education and public health. Ali Kimbia, FBC News.
The 47th International Teaching Seminar on Cardiovascular Disease Epidemiology and Prevention is being hosted in Fiji for the very first time. The conference, which has a distinguished group of educators from around the world, could help draw up preventative measures and policies at a time when the Pacific has been declared a state of emergency for non-communicable diseases. Christopher Chand reports.
Participants were warmly welcomed to paradise, but just as quickly reminded of the reality on the ground.
Non-communicable diseases are endemic and killing maybe as many as 80% of the population. So many people are now dying far too young from non-communicable diseases.
The alarming rate of deaths due to heart diseases is a major concern.
We have 6,000 deaths a year, and 5,000 of them are due to non-communicable disease. And those non-communicable disease, 80% of them are due to heart diseases, particularly heart attacks and strokes.
Having the International Society on Cardiovascular Diseases in the country could have a significant impact on reducing the burden of these diseases.
Is cause for optimism that improvement is possible. If we think in particular about the current generation of children growing through adolescence and into adulthood in good cardiovascular health.
The seminar, which is being hosted for 10 days at Denara, will discuss a number of topics related to heart diseases and its prevention. Fiji now has its own specialist cardiology unit, but the bigger challenge is living a healthier lifestyle. Christopher Chand, FBC News.
The Fiji Broadcasting Corporation has partnered with the National Substance Abuse Advisory Council to advocate on drug abuse and its effects on all 6 radio stations and on FBC TV to help create a drug-free environment. This is FBC's commitment to celebrate the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking this year. FBC CEO Riaz Said Qayyum says Fiji's biggest media organization wants to do all it can to control this growing problem. The awareness and promotion campaign will also be educational, as it will teach students how to abstain themselves from the consumption of both legal and illegal drugs.
FBC will promote this with interviews. Announcers talk more on the topic during the talk segment, promos, commercials, and also talkback shows, and make people aware of what it's all about and how we can all make the change and help one another. We are quite confident that this campaign will be a success because of the fact that we reach the most number of households in the country through our radio stations and our TV station.
International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking will be celebrated from June 22nd to the 25th. 20 men from Kandavu, Naitasiri, Tailevu, Rewa and Lomaiviti have completed a workshop aimed at eradicating violence against women and children in their provinces. The male advocacy training program was held over 4 days in Nandave, Tailevu. The Fiji Women's Crisis Centre coordinator Shamima Ali says the knowledge these men have gained will go a long way towards promoting gender equality and eliminating violence against women. Most of the participants come from communities that have been declared zero tolerance to violence against women by the government.
There are a lot of men here from Kandavu, from the hills of Naitasiri and so on, that will take the word back. They are in leadership positions in their organizations, in their areas, in their communities, and they have made a commitment, a very genuine commitment.
The training was supported by the Australian government. And on that note, we turn to sports now. Here's Jamie with the very latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and good evening. Coming up in sports, Naitasiri loses Skipper Cup points for fielding unregistered player, and organisers of Olympic Day Fun Run expect huge turnout at this year's event. We'll have this and more after the break.
देश की धड़कन रेडियो फीजी 2 का ये प्रसारण आपके कार्यक्रम में आपका स्वागत हम कर रहे हैं। याद रखते हैं अभी से लेकर रात 12 तक यह सिलसिला हमारा और आपका चलता रहेगा। दृष्टिकोण में आपका हम स्वागत कर रहे हैं। दृष्टिकोण के तुरंत बाद आगे बढ़ते हैं कार्यक्रम में। इधर कहते हैं कि गहरी थी रात लेकिन हम सोए नहीं, गहरी थी रात लेकिन हम सोए नहीं, दर्द बहुत था दिल में पर हम रोए नहीं, कोई नहीं हमारा जो पूछे हमसे, जाग रहे हो किसके लिए या किसी के लिए सोए नहीं। याद रखें गीत संगीत का तकाजा आपके लिए रात 12 तक आपको हम सोने नहीं देंगे। महकती रातें हर सोमवार से लेकर शुक्रवार तक रात 7 से लेकर 12 के बीच रेडियो फीजी 2 देश की धड़कन पर रविंद्र सिंह के साथ।
The Naitasiri rugby team has been stripped of 4 points for fielding an unregistered player in its round 3 Skipper Cup match against Overlau last month. Naitasiri had won 22-12, but Overlau filed a protest against Naitasiri for fielding a Peli Naititokovai, claiming that he was not registered under Naitasiri. Following investigations by the Fiji Rugby Union Games Committee, it was found that Overlau's complaint was valid and that Naititokovai was registered under Savura Rugby Club in Suva, with no release to play for Naitasiri. The Games Committee has ruled that Naitasiri be stripped of the win and the 4 points be awarded to Overlau. This means Naitasiri now has 10 points and remains in 6th place on the standings. Organizers of the Olympic Day Fun Run are expecting over 2,000 participants this year. The annual event will be held on the inaugural National Sports Day public holiday next Friday, promoting Olympic values in healthy living. Chalen Dadakadaka reports.
The Olympic Day Fun Run is an annual event held worldwide. In Fiji, the event is held in Suva and Nadi concurrently and often draws a large number of participants. Goodman Fielder has been a key supporter of the event in recent years, and this time will be providing 500 vests for kids and 30 product vouchers to participants.
This year marks the 7th consecutive year that we've supported the event, and we are really quite proud to partner with an event that lightens up the Olympic values or the Olympian values, which are respect, friendship, and excellence.
In Suva, participants will run from My Suva Park to Albert Park and back, while in Nadi, the course will start and finish at McDonald's, with the route looping around the back road.
We also have sporting activities, so it's going to be a fun-filled day, and I encourage all the families to come down. You know, bring what you can, bring your bikes, bring your pushchairs, bring your prams if you've got little kids, and just come down and have fun with us.
A sports fair will be held to allow local sporting bodies to showcase their respective sports to the public. FBC Sports.
A 5-member Fiji chess squad will compete in the Oceania Zonal Championships in Australia next month. The team that features Masters Calvin Prasad, Manoj Kumar and Gloria Suku also has a debutant in the mix that is preparing for a baptism of fire when she competes in the international tournament.
When we're going to an international level, we do not just expect, since it's a zonal, we'll be expecting players, really good players from the other Pacific Island nations as well as Australia and New Zealand. So we would be definitely expecting a very tough competition, so we really need to prepare very well.
The Oceania Zonal Championships will be held in Brisbane from July 3rd to the 8th. The race for second spot in the Rio Galaxy Premier Football League has become more competitive after Suva's 3-2 win over Mba yesterday. With Nandi already securing the #1 spot, Ba, Suva, Lautoka, Rewa and Lambasa are still in the running to qualify for next season's OFC Champions League. Rohit Deo has the details.
And it slips away.
It was the battle of the defending champion against the former champions. Both teams went into the match knowing the best possible finish would be second on the ladder.
Alvin Singh shadowing him, and it comes to Noah Vukida. Noah outside the box, playing it back for Puasa. Puasa comes in with a cross across field, and on by Nikhil Chand, and Nikhil Chand gets the first goal. Ravinit Chand infield to Malakai Tiwa. Mavilako onto Avinash Swami, turns and drives, and a left foot pile driver. And
the teams showed good quality football, but Suva was more hungrier for victory.
Is on Madhyun Downandamu races away, Ravinit Chand, out it comes again onto Nikhil Chand, and Ravinit Chand chested out of play for a corner kick. It hit his chest and is given a penalty as Mazyu lines up his shot, places it and puts Suva up by 2-1. And Peter Rambo again, out it comes again, plowing through. And Nikhil Chand, the flag stayed down this time. Nikhil Chand again has put Suva up by 3-1. Shamil Rao with a free kick, curls it and pulls one back. In the 46th minute of play, he has pulled one back, but maybe...
The win has increased Suva's chances of finishing second, as a win in the remaining 3 matches for the Whites will see them qualify for the Champions League for the second consecutive year. Nandi, with their victory against Lotoka, has clinched the league title after a lapse of 15 years, while Rewa, Lambasa, Lotoka and Ba with Suva still cling on the hope of finishing runners-up. The runner-up for this year's league title may well be decided this weekend, with Suva playing twice, and a win in both matches will be enough for the capital city side. Lotoka is in a must-win position if they want to have any chances of qualifying. A win for Lotoka or Suva winning both their matches will put Ba out of next season's Champions League. Rohit Deo, FBC Sports.
Mali continues to defy the odds at the FIFA Under-20 Football World Cup, booking a semi-final place after its 4-3 win on penalties over Germany in the quarterfinals yesterday. The other teams that have booked their place in the last 4 are Brazil, Serbia and Senegal. Meanwhile, at the Four Nations Friendly Cup in Vanuatu this afternoon, Fiji drew 1-1 against New Caledonia. Its third and final game is against Vanuatu on Wednesday. That is your sports for this evening. It's back to Jackie now with business.
Renovations to the Reserve Bank of Fiji building in Suva, which began in November 2013, is nearing completion. RBF Governor Barry Whiteside says they hope that work will be completed next month. The building, which was constructed in 1984, received an upgrade of the forecourt area, the installation of energy-efficient lights and window maintenance that will improve temperature control within the building. Whiteside says they are pleased that they have been able to work within the original budget of $7 million.
We're just waiting for some finishing touches on the driveway, and we have our emblem, which will be put on the front of the podium area. So it'll look really nice when it's finished, I can assure you.
Whiteside says more than 95% of the work has been completed. Today was cloudy and cool across the country following a cloudy, cool weekend. In the north, there was some sunshine and warmer temperatures. And in temperatures, Lambasa had a maximum of 32 today. Savu managed only 27. Temperatures could go as low as 21 degrees tonight, so do keep yourselves warm. Tomorrow will once again deliver cloudy periods with brief showers over the eastern parts and interior of the larger islands. Outlook for Wednesday, more of the same, cloudy and cool with brief showers over the interior and eastern parts of the larger islands. And recapping our top stories. Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama says a political dialogue with the European Union today went very well. He also has used the opening of the ACP-EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly to call for developed economies to be shamed for not agreeing to cut carbon gas emissions. And the co-president of the ACP-EU, Louis Michel, says they have every intention of relaying Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama's message to the EU to be more flexible when negotiating economic partnership agreements. To our poll segment. And the results from last week, 58% of those who responded agree that primary school students should be allowed to use the internet after school. And here is this week's question: should fines for traffic offences be increased? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page, FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply hashtag FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Good night.
Great words there from Lucky Dube and Baban. I hope you enjoyed that number. Different colors just for you on Gold FM. Only the classic hits. Louise with you on the Center Show. Well, thank you so much for the sweet company. This is Alana Miles, one of my favorites, and Black Velvet for you. Hi there. Join me on the Center Show every weekday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the best sounds on Gold FM. only the classic hits.